Hey there, guys. What's up? This is Chaos here. So, I have another video from Homestead Journey, and this actually confirms a lot of the things that I've been talking about. Um, the high price cost of living, and the ridiculous cost of prices that are in the grocery stores, and everything is just ridiculous. And it's getting to the point now that America is not built for a place to live, unless if you are, retired, which I don't recommend spending the rest of your retirement living in America. But America's just not the country that it used to be. It's like basically you're getting it's basically like two bags of sadness and milk a jug of milk and whatever crumbs that you can find on the ground to eat to survive. America has become a survival mode kind of country, right? But let's go ahead and proceed with this video because I don't want to be on here for too long. And let's see what these people has to say.
Who would have thought a time would come that people would be saying they don't want to live here in the United States anymore, that they would rather pick up and go to another country, or at least seriously consider going to another country because of the cost of living, the change in politics, crime. They are not sure what the future of America looks like for themselves or their family.
The new American dream is to leave America.
And I agree with this because America right now is just it's just not a place to live anymore. They putting stuff in our food. There's the food is not satisfying. It doesn't last long. The fruit tends to die off because they're putting pesticides and other types of chemicals in the fruit to where it dies off so quickly. And it's just my thing is looking at it as, okay, what jobs can you even find that will pay you enough money just to be able to help you with your cost of living? A lot of these jobs don't really care about trying to hire people, and they're getting out of hiring more people. And yet they claim that they need more people because, they want to keep more and more money in their pockets. Everybody is even living in survival mode, even people that are currently employed. But I agree with them.
That's the new American dream. I've been following people on TikTok who have moved to other countries, and this one guy I follow, he moved to Thailand 6 years ago, and he said the number one question he used to always get from his friends was, why are you leaving America? And now,
And I'm pretty sure that that answer is obvious. See, the thing is a lot of foreign countries don't understand how bad it is because they're in their own countries, so they don't really know what goes on outside of other countries. However, the reason people are leaving America because the cost of living, everything is overpriced. It's even tough to even find employment, to find a job here. They waste your time with pointless interviews, and then they turn around and when they don't need you no more, they get rid of you. There's been over 14 million layoffs from high tech companies. Even people that are getting into IT now are struggling to try to find a job. They have to have 1 to 6 interviews, which is kind of ridiculous to have that many interviews with that many people. You know what I mean? Like, usually you have one interview, bam, you got the job. But now they're just making things so complicated.
all he hears from his friends when they write him or call him is, how can I leave America. It's funny how things have changed so much in 6 years. Not funny. Sad. Really sad how things have changed in 6 years. I mean, this is now the third world country. America is a third world country. Isn't that nice? We all now live in a third world country. Sick. And it ain't getting any better. That's for sure. I mean, people move to these other countries because it's safe. You don't got to worry about bang bang every day.
And I agree, because America is just not a safe place to live anymore. I remember one night when I was walking home from work, right? There's this guy that was just acting crazy. I don't know if he was drunk. I don't know if he was on some drugs or whatever the case may be. Because I live in a state now where all people do is drink and do drugs, and they got homeless just everywhere, all over the place. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, so I came across this guy, and what ended up happening is he had a I looked in his hand, and he had a knife in his hand, and he was about to stab me. And he was like, "Whoa, you move pretty quick." And I'm like, "Yeah, because you have a knife. And I'm not trying to run the risk of getting stabbed, much less I'm not trying to end up in the hospital, considering hospital bills are expensive." So I ended up having to take a detour because he was going towards where I was going. So I had to beat him to the punch before he had a chance to do anything. So you got child predators out here. You got, you know, it's always something going on. You got shootings in the malls, shootings in high schools, in public schools now. Then you got security. Then it's just so much going on, right? So it's like America is not a safe place to live anymore like it used to be. It's dangerous here. So yes, it kind of makes sense to move to another country, like Japan, Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, or anywhere in in East Asia, in the East, because it's safe. You ain't got to worry about people clucking you upside your head, or somebody driving a car and they take a gun and they're shooting blindlessly, rapidly at other people. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But that's what a lot of the stuff that's happening now.
If you got kids, I mean, I don't, but I mean, people that have young children today, like sending their kids to school, you say goodbye.
And then the thing is about going to school, because I was told, because I did a read a document that there was a 9-year old kid that had a gun, and he pointed to his grade teacher. I don't know, but I think I read it in a document somewhere. It's insane. Um, it's just not safe anymore. You just don't. You just never know who is really who. Because people have a shell of their former self.
In the morning, and it's like, this really could be goodbye. Healthcare, forget about healthcare. Even before these subsidies go away, so many people paying $500 a month, $900 a month, $1,200 a month last week. Now, everybody getting these letters in the mail. Their premiums double, triple, quadruple. I was posting, I think, the other day about this girl. She's running for Congress, or like a House seat. I forget what state she's in. Anyway, she just got her Blue Cross Blue Shield, and it was up 546%. Nobody could. Who could pay these premiums? I mean, it's literally, you got to choose between healthcare, your mortgage, your rent, or food.
Yeah, and I agree with what he's saying, because you got to make so many choices between when you get your paycheck. Either you're gonna be homeless, or pay your rent and not have lights, or you're gonna have lights but not have food. You got to choose between not having food or not being able to put gas in your car. Not to be able to put gas in your car, to either, uh, you know, uh, to go and get um, your cell phone paid or your car service to basically, you know, either no gas in the car to get to work or no cell phone if you don't pay it. It's it's really crazy.
You got to have food. More than likely, you want a roof over your head, so can't do all three. So it's going to be healthcare, just people living without health.
And then I gotta add, if you're choosing to put gas in your car or to pay your cell phone bill, okay, you're gonna have to get to work. So it's like, if you're gonna have to get to work, then then that means you have to go without the cell phone. It's crazy.
God forbid you get hurt, go to the hospital, you're done. Your house that you may have owned will now belong to them. It's crazy. So, yeah, sadly, the new American dream is to leave.
I don't like what's happening with our kids, and I think this is a really shitty time for them to be growing up or being on the cusp of adulthood. I have a senior in high school who is applying to college. He's received 2 acceptances so far, and he is not excited. There is
Because the thing is about that is college degrees are becoming saturated now. You know, you get accepted. Okay, cool. Because I don't feel that excited of getting accepted to a school. You see what I mean? Because anybody can get accepted now. And college degrees is becoming less valued in the US. That's why a lot of people are struggling to try to find a job in the major that they found that they have, because they're expecting these college graduates to have uh, some kind of experience, at least 6 months of experience. But the thing is, you can try to go for uh, internship, but there's some internships that pays, and there's some that doesn't. And not a lot of jobs do internships for the most part. So it's like, you have to really wonder, like, is it really worth going to college, trying to pursue an associate's all the way to a master's degree, only to find out that the job market is crashing? So what most people do is they take their degrees and the skills they learn here and they go to another country, because whatever you have, this is why leaving America and starting a whole new life in another country is important, and it is a good decision and a good turn of your investment, because the skills that you have are valued in other countries. Sorry about that. You guys give me a second. Is valued in other countries. However, all the skills and everything that you learn in the United States, it don't have that much value, because you got so many jobs now that are trying to get rid of people, and it's all about the money. They don't care about their employees. And shout out to Trey, Learn with Trey, but he used this quote: uh, "Life is like a sandwich, as well as the job market is like a sandwich. No matter which side of the sandwich you flip, the bread always comes first." Shout out to Trey, Learn with Trey, once again for that quote.
no excitement there about what the future holds. Will AI take my job? What can I major in that is safe? I will never be able to buy a house, or I'm going to be 40 by the time I can afford my first home. They are entering the world with a very different mindset than in the late 90s, early 2000s, us as parents. I mean, I got that college acceptance letter and it was like, oh my God, I couldn't wait to go. There was no way my future wasn't bright. Like the whole world was in front of me. And I feel so bad for these kids because it's not, does not seem like that. The messaging is not the same. I think rightfully so. I want to hear from you guys, from other parents who are in the same boat as me. Like, what is the conversation that we have, without being Pollyanna, positive, as my son will say, because we'll talk and he's like, you're naively positive. Maybe I am. I just want to hype him up about the future. But I'm scared of shit too, guys. Like, what the hell?
Well, here we are. It's Friday, and we are just literally minutes away from the border to Canada as we flee the U.S. Who would have thought at age 60 that this would be our day and our plan and our actions? And I know fleeing sounds dramatic and like something from a movie, but it's really true.
Well, that's my hat goes off to this man for leaving the U.S. Even if it is going to Canada, my hat goes off to you, because right now America is just not what it used to be, and it's gonna get worse, and it's gonna get worse, and it's gonna get worse. It's not going to get any better.
Just feel so scrutinized and so silenced and so being portrayed as enemies within and being portrayed as domestic terrorists because we're standing up for what we believe in this country and what we believe is being violated and is going into an authoritarian regime.
Anybody else feel the same way, where you're like overwhelmed and stressing out about everything, but at the same time you just feel defeated and you don't care? I don't really know how that works, but we're here, so.
Can't believe we had to be adults in the most unaffordable time in history. Like what luck is that? Every other generation got starter homes. We got starter packs for depression. Our parents were buying houses for the price of what we pay in rent now. Meanwhile, we're out here financing phones like they're real estate.
So, the older generation, they got a head start, and it just seems like, now the newer generation is left to deal with all of the overpriced economy and this living in survival mode. So we're here because after the older generation have finessed the system and did whatever they were supposed to do, they don't never leave anything behind for their kids. So they struggle and they get in survival mode and they have to get it themselves. And it's crazy. It shouldn't be like that, but it's crazy.
Groceries, forget it. I walk into the store with $100 and leave with 2 bags of sadness and milk. Eggs cost more than my car insurance. Avocados are basically an investment property. So and don't even talk to me about rent. Rent is just a cover charge for existing. Like you're paying over $2,000 a month for the privilege of living in a box with suspicious plumbing. Utilities out of control, internet, forget it. Health insurance. This is an extortion racket. I mean, you can't even get sick, but being alive is already too expensive. So we really got dealt the worst hand. I mean, we were told work hard and you'll have stability. Nah, we worked hard and we got.
Yeah, it's like you work hard, get good grades in school, go to college, get a degree, and you will get a good job so that you can work. Well, those kind of talks are already over with, and those type of talks are done done away with. And also those type of talks doesn't work in this new system that is being created now. And it's like the older generations before us have told us lies and and kind of told us that all we had to do was go to school, get good grades, put your money in the bank, save up your money and work hard, and eventually you'll live a better life. Well, that doesn't work anymore. That advice is the foolish, cringy advice that you can ever give to somebody.
Spotify Premium, 3 streaming services, and trauma. So, other generations got the American dream. We got the American receipt.
Okay, guys, there's something we have to talk about because I'm getting to be really worried about us as a society. This is the second time in a row now where I wanted to use cash that I had, which I don't do very often, but I had some cash in my wallet and some change that I want to get rid of. And I've gone to a place and purchased something and gave them a little bit extra so that I can get a full dollar back versus breaking a bill, and gave change. And when I tell you the actual stop that gives this person, they can't compute. It's like a computer has broken down and stalled for several minutes. And this is, unfortunately, I fear turning into an epidemic because we're starting to not use cash. And
It seems like, my thing is with AI taking over, and there was some talks about going digital and not using cash anymore. And it seems like it's starting to get to that point. And if you give it to the next 5 or 10 years, it's probably going to be to the point where you're not going to be able to go to the bank to withdraw cash out. Everything is probably going to be done digital at this point.
really think that this is scary. And I just was listening to someone on here the other day saying that we're losing our ability to think. And I understand the places I was at, it's probably not the most adept people in some of these jobs, but you should be able to type the numbers into the system and count change and have it spit back the right number and count the change out. I'm worried that we no longer can do this as a society. The general population might not be able to. It's getting scary out there.
Well, we're looking at leaving. We're going to look at Canada and Portugal. Those are the 2 places we're looking. I can't even believe that I have to say this, but I am not going to sit and wait and hope that what we're seeing unfold doesn't actually happen.
Yeah, you shouldn't really have to waste your time doing that anyway. Half of the. If you got. Here's my thing. If you got the means to leave America, leave America. This is why I tell people all the time, it's getting tough out here. You got social media, you can start a mailing list, which that's what I'm learning how to do so I can start making more money from it. You can start your merch store, you can start your own business. I even tell people, hey, I ask people, have you started a YouTube channel? The responses I get is, I want to do TikTok reels, or somebody else told me the same thing, or I've never really thought about that, but I just had a conversation with someone at work about that. And I'm thinking, okay, so the fact that I brought it up and you just already had a recent conversation about that with somebody else, or you had multiple people that has also told you to do that, then that's kind of a clear sign that maybe it's about time that you looking to start doing it. But the problem is a lot of people are so complacent, they don't want to take risks, to improve. They don't want to, they just want to stick in their comfort zone and put all their eggs into one basket because nobody wants to do anything. Even if it makes them more money doing it, they don't want to do it. They don't even want to learn anything. They just want to stay complacent. Even though it's bad out here, a lot of people are not very in touch of what's going on because they don't care. They rather stay complacent in their comfort zone. They don't like being outside of the box. And that is a dangerous thing to do. That's a dangerous, um, that's not very a good thing to do. Sorry about that, guys. Let me move this here. That's not such a wise thing to do, you know, to sit there and be complacent and be in your comfort zone. Because if something happens and you're not prepared for it, you're going to be, caught up.
I'm just, I'm not. I'm almost 60. What does that give me? Another 25, 30 years? I'm just keeping it real here. I don't want to live it like this. It's just not. No, I don't want to. And so, do I want to leave my country? No. But my country kind of disappeared around 2015, and now it's unrecognizable to me.
I agree with what she's saying. Like, America's just not what it used to be back in the 90s and 80s. You got women out here dressed up like dudes, and you got, I don't, when I was at work, I saw a teenage boy dressed up like a chick. He had on a dress and everything, and I was just looking at him like, wait a minute, is that a chick? That don't look like a chick. And you got dudes that are 6 feet tall, dressed up like women, wearing, you know, sandals and everything. It's too much going on out here. Like everything is unrecognizable. You know, you don't even know what's going on. Everything is just so normalized. So I get what she's saying. Like, I don't know what timeline this is, but we live in a whole different generation, and everything is just destroyed. Everything is just ridiculous.
And so we're going to do a little research. We've got our Go stuff packed, all our documentation. We are going to check out Canada first, probably come back here, go check out Portugal, come back here. Maybe Turkey. I'm not sure. It depends. Yeah, I mean, can you, it's like mind boggling. It's mind boggling. I just had a conversation with my cousin who, I love her. I'm probably closer to her than anyone in my entire family except my sister, who's closest to me in age. And she's a Republican. And she has no idea about what's going on. She's not MAGA, but she's part of the GOP, and like she doesn't know. I mentioned a few things to her, and she's like, I mean, it's just, and she is a brilliant woman, but she doesn't know. And it was funny because I started to feel, I was talking to her and I started to feel like,
Yeah, you get that too. I get that too because I've been talking about this since, back in, because I knew this was going to happen. Back in 2019, I knew that things were going to get this bad. And I've been talking about, crazy situations with the dating scene and everything. Like I've been talking about this stuff, you know, and now it's getting worse. Um, And the thing is that it has gotten worse and worse. Um, she's not going crazy. She's actually telling the truth. Um, anytime when you're talking about something and people look at you like you're crazy, like you don't know what you're talking about, or maybe you just done bumped your head somewhere, or you're acting like, that's just because a lot of people are just oblivious to what's going on in their own country, and they don't care because they're just so complacent, they're so comfortable, of what's going on, they just don't care anymore. So I get what she's saying, because I used to tell people, I told people at work and, in other places, start your own business, because these jobs are not going to last very long, and it's going to get worse and worse and a lot worse in America. It's not going to get any better.
I probably sound crazy to her. Like, I bet I sound like I'm making a bigger deal out of things than what they are. So I had to really explain in detail just a small, like, smudgeon of some of the things that are going on, specifically that would impact her personally. Yeah, I don't understand how people are unaware of what's happening, other than where they're getting their news from.
People are so blind to what's really going on is because they don't really they don't have any discernment on what is going on around them, because America and Americans, they're just normalizing everything, and they pay attention to the news. The news will give them anything, will tell them anything. They'll try to glamorize everything and make it seem like everything is okay, but it's not. So, with that being said, of course, these people that you tell, they're not going to hear you out. They're not going to see what you see, because people are just, most of them taking the blue pill. They just believe what they want to believe, and they just rule out something that makes sense to them.
Even getting news. I know there's a lot of people in the country right now that have just turned off their TV. They just turn off their TV. They don't want to know. That is very dangerous.
I agree with her. It's very dangerous to live in a country that you claim that's your country and just refuse to not want to know what's going on in your surroundings. It's not safe. It's being living in America, it's already dangerous as it is. You got criminals, you got, you know, uh, 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 you got pedophiles out here, child predators, all of this craziness that's going on out here, and for them to turn away from the news or turn away from reading articles and trying to see what's going on, get with your counterparts or your neighbors and try to share information to stay in tune to what is going on. That is very dangerous. I agree with her. It is very dangerous to not know what's going on in your own country. And what's really sad is as much talks as they give defending their country and talking bad about other countries, which is another thing that led people to believe anything, because they want to believe that, oh well, people in other countries, they got machetes and they're killing people and all of that stuff. There's war that's going on. It's not like that in other countries. But see, the problem is people watch TV and they're being fed this propaganda and false information on what is actually really going on in other countries. And so a lot of these Americans, they don't even understand how their own country works. They just make statements and say, well, I don't care who's in office. Well, I don't really care about this country because it's going to fall anyway. it's like you have to be aware of what's going on. Everywhere you go, you have to be aware of what's going on. You can't just shrug your shoulders and say, I don't care, because whatever happens, in the White House, or, whoever that they vote as president, it has an impact on you as a citizen.
That's incredibly dangerous, in my humble opinion. So, yeah, we're going to start looking. Crazy times. Crazy frickin' times we're living in.
We are leaving the US. We are leaving the US for good. We are moving back to India. I've got so many comments, so many DMs, and the number one question is, why are we leaving the US? Multiple reasons, number of reasons of why we are leaving. The first reason is the healthcare system here. The healthcare system is terrible. I have been a victim of this healthcare system once when I suffered a loss. When my kids are sick, also I don't have any great experience whenever they are sick. But with my recent husband's diagnosis that he's got, staying in this country would be very difficult for us. It would not do any good to his health condition.
Yeah, because most of these, yeah, it's good to go back. Out of America, and I've said this so many times, America is not a place to date. It is not a place for relationships. It is not a place to try to live this white pickings fence, this American dream BS that everybody is keep going on about, because there was never no such thing as an American dream. The true American dream is leaving the US. This is why I in my other videos I keep saying over and over, and I warn people and I inspire people, get your passports, pick up a skill, learn. If you're gonna get a college degree, fine. I mean, try to pick up a skill. Learn. You can learn a lot on YouTube, or you could take courses online that can help you get the skills that you need. Once you get those skills, and once you build up your business, get your passport, sell all your stuff, and leave. Because that's what I'm going to be doing soon. Starting next year, I'm going to save up a lot of money, and I'm leaving the U.S. because the U.S. has done nothing for me. The healthcare system is terrible. It's hard to get a job here, and you have to consistently call people, and everything is overpriced. It's like you can barely get anything to eat. Like, I get small groceries, right? Small groceries of food to eat, because I'm trying to conserve money for the next paycheck that's about to go in. It's just so crazy here. Like, and a lot of people are just asleep, and they don't know what's really going on out here. So this is why I tell people all the time. I said this over and over and over in some of my videos. I don't know if I did say it because it's been a while since I posted on this channel, but this is what I've been saying. Get your passports. Pick up a trade or a skill that you can use. Get your passport. Take the skills and everything you learn. Hey, be a digital nomad. You can go to the Philippines. I believe they got a visa available for digital nomad online workers. If you can find a remote job that could pay you more, and you can travel anywhere you want as long as you got internet, hey, try that. Start a YouTube channel. Start Twitch. Get a TikTok. Do something. You know what I mean? Something that you enjoy doing, and try to harness the skills of doing whatever that is that you love to do. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, like, it's gonna get to the point where a lot of these jobs just gonna completely it's gonna completely crumble at this point. So this is why I say all the time, pick up a skill. If you're gonna start a business or whatever you're gonna do it. make more money from it, because these jobs are not going to guarantee. It's not guaranteed. There are no job securities working for somebody else's company. And when you're working for somebody else's company, guess what? You're building the future of their company, and not you, and less building on your future. Just keep that in mind.
And the healthcare system here is the focus is on insurance, the focus is on the deductibles, the out of pocket. Whereas in India, the healthcare system is much better, where the focus is made first the patient, the focus is like treatment, let's first get him.
Yes, I agree with her. So in India and other countries like it, they focus on the people. They don't focus on the deductible and the costs and all of this stuff, because that's what the healthcare system is here. They focus on money and how much money they can get out of you, as well as, okay, what they can do to help that person. That's what America is. It is a money, I keep saying this, it is a money making society. America is like it's like a slice, it's like a sandwich. Shout out to Learn with Trey. No matter which side of the sandwich you flip it on, the bread is always going to come first. So, once again, America is all about money. They don't care about the people. They don't, especially in the medical field. They don't care about, you know, what you need or whatever. They just do just enough just to get by, and until you have more problems, then you got to come back.
Let's make him better, and then we will see regarding the insurance and the bills and all of those things.
And I don't really see, I wanted to ask something else. I don't really see why a lot of people want to stay in America anyway, because the healthcare system is terrible. The doctors, they only care about money. It's all about the money. It's never about the people anymore. People, America is selfish. But like I said, guys, I encourage all of you guys, if you got the means to leave America and maybe get your house built somewhere else, there are countries out there that will pay you just for staying in their country. They will also support and pay you if you decide to marry and have, because there are some countries that have a low male population, because some of the male that went off to war or maybe went to other countries and went into the military, and they're just no more, right? But here's, I encourage all of you guys, if you can leave America, if you got the money to do it, please do it, because right now in 2026 it is going to get even more worse than it's getting in 2025.
So the accessibility to doctors, the accessibility to specialists without appointments or with appointments, it's much easier. We don't have to worry about which treatment to select versus which we cannot do, because
And that's another thing too with the healthcare system in America. There's Blue Cross Blue Shield, there's all kinds of other companies, healthcare companies out there. And in other countries, you don't have to pick and choose which company it is. Because in America, every company is in competition with everybody each other. You got different uh, car dealerships, different restaurants are competing with each other. You got different gas stations, different daycares, you got different healthcare systems, different hospitals. Like everything in this country, in America, is in competition with each other. And now, you know, I gotta figure out, okay, so what healthcare is the best? And then when you ask an American, what is the best what is the best healthcare system that we can get? You know, they just say, well, I just apply for Blue Cross and Blue Shield, or you just got to choose what's best for you. That's no different than if you're trying to invest in stocks and there's so many stock brokerage websites. You don't even know which one will be a good fit for you. So what they tell you, oh, you have to do your research. You have to find out which stock website is going to be a good fit for you, instead of, whereas if you're in another country, There's just only one stock brokerage website that everybody else uses. There's actually one healthcare that everybody uses. There's no several different healthcares and all of this crazy crap. In America, it is. You got several different hospitals, several different Medicaids, and Blue Cross Blue Shield, and all of this, all of these different Medicaid companies. It's crazy. I agree with her. It's too much. I just like when I cuz I in my current job, I don't even apply for benefits, for health benefits, because you get met with a whole list of, different medical companies, and I'm thinking, well, which one would be best? Whereas in another country, you only get one healthcare system. And every other country has their own healthcare system, and it's only one. There's not multiple healthcare systems. And then they got hospitals, but every hospital follow the same healthcare system. Whereas in America, not only do you got several hospitals, but you got several different Medicaid systems. Now you got to do your research. You got to scroll through a whole list, and it's going to take you at least a month just to choose which healthcare system is the best for you. It's crazy. It's unbelievable.
Insurance is not covering it. We don't have to worry about meeting the out of pocket, meeting the deductibles. We don't have to worry about the tests that they do. We don't have to worry about how much.
And here's the thing. So I was watching a YouTuber called Trend the Big Bro, and he went to go get his teeth cleaned. So they only thing they asked him in Thailand, do you have the money? Do you have a passport? Do you have any identification? Okay, let's go. Pay it. Hey, have a nice day. Come again. Great. If you go to a dentist in America, it's like, okay, and then on top of that, in Thailand or in other countries, when you getting ready to go get your teeth clean or whatever you're going to get done with your teeth, there is somebody there that is ready to operate with you. In America, when you're trying to go in, okay, you got to pay this much just to get in, then you got to pay another extra $80 just to get your teeth clean. Then you got to, and then you go into a room. They have you sitting in there by yourself for 10 minutes. Then by the time they get in, there's nobody there that's actually ready and prepared to actually work on your teeth, to actually do things to your teeth or whatever they need to do to them. In another country, all you got to do, show them identification, pay. They take you to one of the rooms. You already got somebody that's ready to work on your teeth. In America, they don't do that. You just got somebody that's just, it'll take them at least 5 or 10 minutes just to show up. Then you got to pay another $80 or more depending on what they're doing to your teeth. It's ridiculous. Like the healthcare center, it's ridiculous.
Which test the insurance will cover, and all of these things. And even just as simple as a fever or a cough, I can take my kids to the doctor freely without having to worry about again insurance and appointments and all of those things.
Yeah, and that's another thing about healthcare benefits too. You got to have insurance. You got to choose what kind of health insurance you need. You got to go and get a Medicaid card insurance. You got to have all of this stuff. And that stuff is expensive. When you're going, rather if it's to the hospital, going to the dentist, or going to the eye doctor, or whatever the case may be, you don't need all of that. You can just go up there. They say, hey, how you doing? Do you have this? Do you have that? Okay, come on. They perform their procedures that they need to perform, or whatever that you got going on, and rather if it's something going wrong with your eyes, or something going wrong with your teeth, or something going wrong with your health, whatever. They're gonna always have a doctor that or a nurse that's going to be in that room. She's going to be ready to be of service. In America, you gotta have insurance. You gotta have car insurance, but not that it has anything to do with health, but you gotta have medical insurance. You gotta have all of this stuff before you can even be guaranteed and to get service. And even then, that's expensive. Whereas if you go into another country like India, you ain't got to go through all of that. You don't have to worry about having insurance and health insurance and all of this other crap. I mean, down the line, yeah, you probably need to, but because the healthcare is affordable. In the US, the healthcare is not affordable. And then at the same time, you already have jobs that are not paying enough, and you're barely using the paychecks that you get from your job just to keep up with your bills. You got people using in credit card debt and everything. They doing everything they can to get some money.
I'm going to save time, so I made a list. But we're Americans. We moved from America to another country. We can leave our kids at play places for several hours at a time while we shop and not have to worry about kidnapping. Hospitals are free, and if we go to a private hospital or like an overnight ER stay at the private hospitals, might cost you like $180. Don't pay taxes, tax-free income. The price you see at the store is the price you pay. Gas is roughly a little over $1 a gallon. Our apartment came fully furnished, utilities and internet included, a seaside view, and it's still cheaper than our mortgage that we had in South.
Yeah, because when you move into another country, everything is affordable. You don't have to like whatever country they came, it was affordable. They were able to get internet. They were able to get everything. This is a list that she's reading. This lady is in another country, right? She don't have to sit up here and pay over $2,000 just to get internet, just to get furniture, just to do all of this stuff. See, in America, you have to go buy furniture. You have to go buy a bed to sleep in. You have to get utensils to eat with and all of this other crazy stuff. In another country, when you move into a home or an apartment, especially in a home, they already have furniture that is ready for you. They already have everything in the house that you need. Plus, internet is cheaper. You can get internet up there. It's cheaper. You know what I'm saying? But then in another country, you're paying about $400 for internet service. Then you gotta pay over 20 from $900 to $2,400 a month. But then you're working a job that don't even pay you that much. So how the hell are you going to be able to make money to pay for rent? I actually talked to a guy that I used to work at my when I was working at my security job at the mall, and I told him about the overpriced cost of living, and how I was kind of looking up some houses and how high the prices is, right? And he was just talking as if like, oh well, you can just get a studio apartment just $900 a month, like there was no big deal. I'm just like, $900 a month working a job like this, that means you gotta work 2 jobs just to pay that rent every month. Some people that I met working 3 jobs just trying to get all that income source. It's draining and it's frustrating and it's draining. America's just not the place to live in anymore. I've went out there and I've seen so many people, countless of people, get on the airplane and leave. There's so many planes that are leaving the US. I can't wait to leave the US. Cuz the cost of living down here, it's ridiculous. To where I'm staying with roommates and I can't afford anything. Back in the old days, you can afford a 1 bedroom and still have enough money to do what you need to do. Now, all your money, it's like you got a choice. Either you pay your rent and keep from being on the streets, or you can just not put gas in your car, or put gas in your car and not being able to afford your rent. It's like a choice between either you need internet, which you need it to go to school, or watch your episodes or whatever, because people are getting on the internet these days. People don't use television anymore unless if they're getting on on YouTube, Hulu, or whatever. Or you can just not have power and water. You can pay your water bill, or you can just forget about your car and not pay your car note. Pay your car note, keep your car so you can get to your job, or you can just run the risk of not having rent. It's just like it's a choice. So it's like you have to work two jobs just to make it. And it's very, very and I don't strongly recommend it because I've tried it and it's very, very stressful.
Kansas. In America. Yeah, I said in America. We can buy a brand new fully loaded SUV for about $18,000, and there are certain banks where you can get vehicle and home loans with no interest at all. But when you're an expat, you can't buy a home in this country. Also, if you buy a used car and that person just renewed their car insurance, like let's say a month ago, you still have that insurance for the next 11 months. We can leave our bags and electronics sitting anywhere, come back, and they'll still be there. Gambling, fire.
And that's another thing about these countries too. I guarantee you, either she's in Thailand, she's probably in somewhere in Asia, or somewhere in that part of the spectrum, because those other places are cheaper to live. You see what I mean? And Japan, I know, and I think in Thailand, it could be one of those countries, because I know Thailand and Japan, if you leave your stuff there, I know Japan is one of them. If you left your wallet sitting on the bench in the park, you can come back the next day and your wallet will still be there. If you leave your wallet, like if you're in the US and you leave your wallet sitting on the bench at the park, some homeless person will come up and steal your wallet, take all your cash, run up your bank statement, and then take your wallet and throw it out to the wayside. I think I'm going to be choosing staying in another country and not in America, because you got a lot of thieves, people steal stuff, you can't tell nobody what you got. If you forget something, just like you're going to get, it's going to come up missing. Because people steal stuff, people trying to make money off stuff. They take stuff that they stole and they pawn it, and it's just, it ain't safe. You can't even talk to people now and tell them what you got, because if they find out what you got, then it's like, okay, so you got XYZ. Next thing you know, what you've been valuing is gone.
Alcohol and narcotics are illegal, so there are no incidents revolving around someone being under the influence. Capital punishment is legal, such as hanging. The crimes that can be punished with death are premeditated murder, terrorism giving in death, perjury resulting in innocent execution, destroying buildings that belong to the government, rape, kidnapping, drug trafficking, and espionage. Pork is also illegal. If you wish to live in the same house as your partner, you need to be married. Modest is hottest, and as a woman,
I never liked pork anyway. And after finding out about pork is terrible. Pork is not healthy for you. Some people arguably say that if you cook the pork, then it's not going to be as bad. It doesn't really matter. What they don't understand is when you're eating pork, you're not just eating pork. You're eating whatever that pig has digested into their genetics, into their genes, right? It's no different. It's the same with seafood. You're not just eating shrimp. You're not just eating lobster. You're eating creatures that's probably haven't even been discovered yet, that's probably deep, deep somewhere in the depths of the ocean. You're eating that too, along with other creatures. You're not just eating just one thing, because most of what people eat and consume is in their genetics. People don't realize that.
Safe during the day and night, whether I'm alone or with my family. This is where people believe, as Americans believe what the media says about this country and women's rights, even though they don't live here to experience they haven't lived here to experience the country, and they still judge it. Many people have live in and live out nannies. You'll more than likely see a nanny rather than the parents at school functionings. The country wasn't built to withstand rain, so it floods almost any time it rains. We all think that food and drinks in general just taste better here, and depending on what you buy and eat, it can actually be cheaper to eat out every meal rather than buy groceries, but it just depends where you go, what local restaurants. The American imported foods are expensive. The Americanized restaurants are also expensive.
Yeah, I do agree. Like American like restaurants are expensive, and at some point, a lot of these restaurants are going to start losing sales because people can't afford to keep uh people just can't afford to keep eating these meals anymore. So it's going to get worse. I agree with that.
If we were to have a traffic fine, a fine of some sort, we can't leave this country until we pay the fine. So yeah, we're Americans, and we left America to go to this country because my husband can work one job and I stay home and homeschool our girls, and he makes more than what we did with our 5 jobs combined in America with his one job here. I don't know if that's a bad. People will stop to compliment us on our blonde hair and blue eyes. We actually had someone at the airport who was video chatting his family who asked our kids to say hi to his family so they could see their blonde hair. It is way too hot to be out in the summer, so people either go to another country or stay indoors because are there like thousands of malls or just hundreds? I don't know. There's a lot of malls here.
I'm assuming they're either in Thailand or they're probably in the Philippines. That's what I'm thinking because it's very hot in the South, but they could be in Europe. Who knows?
Indoor activities to do. So yeah, we're Americans living, I feel like, our best life in another country where it's so much cheaper to travel to other countries. The American dream is not to stay in America anymore. We have no problem following the rules, laws, expectations of the country that we're in. We respect other cultures, and so it doesn't bother us as it might bother some other people. But again, don't believe what the media says about other countries until you live and experience it for yourself.
I agree what she's saying because this is what I said earlier in this video. A lot of people talk about how women don't have freedom and the people are controlled, they don't have freedom, or they get walking around with machetes and they're killing people and there's wars in the forest and all of this other stuff. A lot of people don't understand, they don't know because they never been outside of the country, so they believe in what their friend had told them that either been in the military, or they're believing what the media tells them, and they take it and they run with it, and they keep with this mindset that countries are dangerous, but they're not. And they don't, and they tend to turn away, even looking on YouTube to see other people's experience. They have this mindset where it's like, oh, this is just a skit, or this is just fake. But the truth is, it's not. And I actually been to another country. It was just me and my mom. We went to another country, and the first time in my life that this is the first time, it was last year, and it was the first time that I've been to another country. My stress was gone. The weight that I had on my shoulders was gone. The worries that I had was gone. It's just, I felt like a brand new person. I felt so light as a feather. But the moment when I came back to the States, the worries came back, the weight hopped right back on my shoulders came back, the stress came back. It's just, everything just came, that was not very pleasant, just came back. So I get it. So I agree what she's saying. um, if you're going to uh, if you're going to be like, don't go by what other people tell you. Do your research. Talk to somebody who's actually been there, not somebody who just coming from the military. But at the same time, you're not going to really know and be the judge of it until you actually go to that country yourself and you visit it yourself. Because people can tell you anything. But you can't believe everything people tell you. But the problem with Americans is they got it in their heads that going to another country is dangerous. But it's dangerous living here in America. You got shootings that are happening in schools. You got a bunch of drug addicts walking around with knives in their hands and yelling and acting like, like they all stocked up and full of drugs. You got child predators out here. You got this high cost of healthcare system where you got to figure out which healthcare you got to have health insurance, you got to have all of these ridiculous documents, and then you got shootings that's going on in the mall. You got people walking around with AR-15 and driving around with a gun in their hand like they're gonna shoot somebody. It's just crazy. But you're saying it's not safe in other countries. It ain't safe to live here in America. With all this craziness going on, all the goofiness and the behaviors that's going on in America, it's not safe to live here either. You can't even talk to people, especially to females, because you get pepper sprayed, they call the police on you. You get the drill. You guys get the drill.
I was that way when we came here, and it's been nothing but an amazing opportunity for us.
I think a big thing here is that for a lot of people, America used to stand for hope, freedom, opportunity, and that is vanishing. A lot of people are losing hope here. A lot of people feel they don't find freedom here. And a lot of people believe that there's not as many opportunity anymore. So because of that, so many are choosing to consider to leave, or they have already left. I have seen so many people online picking up their bags, packing their stuff, selling their home, giving up whatever they have here just to go to another country. Some people have a plan, others don't. It's really different times. It's really different times when you can see this type of trend. Not so much of the desire to come into the United States, but to either stay away from it or want to leave. Really interesting times that we live in. I'm very curious to see what continues to happen as the months go on. I think that we probably will still continue to see a lot of people leaving the US for all of the different reasons that we saw in this video and even others, especially as work opportunities become less and less available like they have been. A lot of people, if you can't work, how do you take care of yourself? How do you take care of your family? People are seeing that, or people are finding that they are having less and less of a way to properly provide for themselves. And because of that, you can look in different places, but sometimes they're exploring these other countries. I always recommend looking at different states, looking at different cities or towns, look at other areas other than maybe where you are, in case there is somewhere else that you can go and make a life for yourself. There are still a lot of affordable places in the United States. I will vouch for that, hands down. You don't necessarily have to leave the US to find somewhere affordable to live. There are a lot of places here in the US, but it's a matter of obviously finding work there, being willing to go, and making the conscious decision to do that. And if you can move to another country, you can also move to another state, So moving to another country is a lot more difficult than moving to another state. But if the conviction is so strong that what's going on in America is going to go on in America no matter where you are, then people decide that they want to give another country a shot. So what are your thoughts? Let me know.
Alright, so that's it for this video. To address what she's saying, I hear what she's saying, but I think it's safe to say that a lot of people have done their research and they have looked at other states and they have kind of tried to find other cheaper places to live. And it's just it's like no matter where they search, the cost of trying to find somewhere to live is expensive. Not only that, but then it's even tougher to find jobs out here in America, considering the the job market is crumbling and is starting to crash. The job market is crashing. So the thing is, I don't agree. What I don't agree with is the fact that um, you're telling people, she's saying that there are cheaper places to live in the US. But if there was cheaper places to live in the US, then there would be talks about it. It wouldn't get so bad to the point where people can't afford a place to live. But then you got to also take into consideration that the job market is crashing down. So many people are getting laid off from these high paying jobs that is enough to actually suit their lifestyle. You got coders that are getting laid off. You got people who are working on the back end on UI and UX design. They're also getting laid off on these companies that they work for. So saying that there's cheaper and affordable place to live in America, that's false. It's not. Because if there was, then there wouldn't be so many people leaving the US. Another point that she pointed out is the fact that, she's saying that it's difficult to move to another country as well as moving to another state. That's also false because because it's not difficult to move to another country. People do it all the time. And, you know, they, I mean, you can go to another country, you can transmute your American dollars into whatever currency they have, and you're basically a millionaire in another country, basically. But you have enough money to actually afford. You can actually get a house built, you know, in other countries, especially third world countries, and have something to go back to. So where you're not worrying about paying rent and all of this other stuff. So it's not difficult. You just have to know people, and that's the purpose of going to another country, is so that you can get those connections and have those connections that you can trust, that you can get a house built, you can get stuff set up, a person that will trust you, that you can trust. So if you go to another country, you can exploit those connections if you need to. You see what I'm saying? So, um, other than that, I hear what she's saying, but at the same time, the cost of living is high no matter where you go. It is tough to find a job no matter where you go. It is tough to find a job in any state now. Considering you got 9,000 people that are laid off in Amazon, you got over uh, uh, another 10 to 12,000 people approximately that are getting laid off on Microsoft. It's just the layoffs, it never ends. So if you guys like this video, comment below of what your opinions, what your thoughts are on these videos. Do you think that everything that's going on now, do you think that there's still affordable housing in other places? Or do you think it's necessarily a lot easier to just pack up and leave America? As always, I would say get your passports, pick up a skill, um, learn all you can learn, and leave with those skills with you and do something with it. Make money from it, start your own business, because right now, and the way that things are going, if it continues to go the way it's going, it's probably going to be to a point where everybody's just not going to have a job, obviously. All right, so let me know what you guys think. Do you think it's better to just leave America altogether with everything, with the cost of living and the lifestyle going up, and food and gross food and housing and Medicare that is spiking through the roof? Or do you think it's okay to just stay here with some glimmer of hope and think that, hey, there has to be a cheaper, affordable place to live? You guys let me know in the comments below. This is Chaos, signing out.